Is the sound coming in funny to y'all, and can y'all hear me? I am working from 2 devices today at the same time. Hello, Mr. Beak. Can anyone hear me? Okay, good. I'm working. I'm on the phone. This one is through the phone. Wonderful. Well, welcome. And did the music start to sound off? It started out okay in my ear, and then it got distorted, like kept cutting in and out. So I need to troubleshoot all of this. Welcome, everyone. This is going to be probably a short little stream. We have a new moose video that I want to play, and I guess talk a little bit, and then maybe open up a panel. We'll see how it goes. So why don't we get into it? I'm going to attempt to share this, but let me know if how the audio works. And I'm going to drop backstage while it's on. So I'll catch you guys in a couple of minutes.
Another Moose production. Yes. No.
All right. We're already having difficulties. Let me figure this out. It's something to do with the layout.
I don't do safe, I do remark that juggle sins like
all right, let me
purpose watch you flinch if you're looking for a savior, dear. You missed the joke, I'm already here. Another Moose production. They always ask if I'm serious. No. I'm honest. I learned to laugh before I learned to pray. Painting my mouth so they look away. You wanna promise, I wanna spark. I don't do safe, I do remark that juggle sins like crystal wine. Drop one on purpose, watch you flinch if you're looking for a savior, dear. You missed the joke, I'm already here. I don't lie, I evolve, I don't break hearts. I solve them if you're nervous. Good, that means you're listening. Painted smile, bare teeth, I kiss like a warning label reads. If you stay, don't plead, I don't cage what comes willingly. Ring the bells, count the cost, every laugh leaves a ghost. Love me lighter, love me deep, but never ask me to be sweet. Patterns on lines they swear exist. Call it chaos, I call it choice. Your rules sound better when they crack under the weight of my voice. I change my mind like weather turns storm to sun to fire again. If you want something permanent, try a grave, not a friend. Painted smile, bare teeth, I'm the sin you felt before belief. If you kneel, do it free. I don't want what doesn't leave. Now that you know the rules, let's see how long you Now that you know the rules, let's see how long you last.
There you go, folks. Another Moose production. Check out his channel. Let me drop the link for you. Like and subscribe and all that on the video. But what really helps him is comments. So let him know what you think. Give him your feedback. There you go. All right. I don't have a lot to talk about. In fact, I don't have anything to talk about. I have been hanging out on the Discord for the last week, taking a break, and I'm loving it. I'm so spoiled. I feel like I'm on vacation at a tropical beach, sitting in a hot tub on the beach. I hadn't taken a break in almost 3 years. I've been doing this pretty much every day. The longest I've gone without streaming is a day or two at the most. I don't even think I've gone 3 days without streaming. I didn't realize how much I needed this break. I had so much burnout, and being able to step away from it for that amount of time is giving me a much bigger perspective on it that I don't think I could have gotten doing it every day. Yes. Which is a good reminder that this community, this Club Exile, is a 24-hour project, and it continues in the Discord between streams. So if I'm not on stream for a while, and they may be less frequent, depending on where we go. I'm not motivated to hop on here every day and stream just to stream. If I have something to say, if there's a particular topic I want to present, if there's a guest or any of you want to have a conversation on something specific, I'll do streams for things like that. But I think the more open panel, third space element of it is going to shift over to Discord. We've been hanging out, watching TV, having some really good conversations. And let me tell you this, if you don't already know, the conversations backstage are even better than what you see live. So if you think the conversations we have up here are pretty good, the backstage is way deeper and more personal, more intimate. I don't know. Backstage right now, Discord is giving me way more of what I come to YouTube for than YouTube was giving me. I'm getting my intellectual stimulation. We've been watching philosophy documentaries and artist documentaries, and it seems like that's where the momentum's happening now in Discord. And so this channel is kind of like a little portal or little foyer to the club that's going on in the back, which is where a lot of us are hanging out now. And so that's where I can be found if I'm not out here every day. You can always find me in the Discord. The name is Gen X Jeff. I will send you an invite, and we can get some stuff going in that part of the club. So that's really all I got to say. I have been... Oh, yeah. Definitely. If you're into what we do on this channel, there's even more of it in Discord. So this is kind of like the little introduction, the little threshold. Brain food without the trauma, hopefully. I've been thinking a lot lately about autism and neurodivergence, and which is one of the main pillars that this channel's based on. And thinking and rethinking. And which brings me to also, if I do panels, which I may drop the link today and see what happens. If I do panels in the future, I want them to come up here to talk about autism, neurodivergence, come up here to talk about men's issues, men's mental health, come up here to talk about philosophy, art, that kind of stuff. I want to have really more deep and meaningful conversations than I've been having. And so here, let me show you what I'm running up against. And I've shown you this before. You're probably all familiar with it, but let's take another look. When I say neurodivergence, and when you hear things like autism and ADHD, we're talking about this. See how it's these little individual traits: tendency toward abstract thinking, craves novelty, easily bored, motor skills impacted, etc., etc. It's these trait and trait clusters, and there's so much overlap. So what might be autism in one setting might be ADHD in a different one, or giftedness, or ADHD now, which is becoming a thing. It's the overlap between autism and ADHD. Because this is how diagnoses work. Well, actually, this is what diagnoses are first. They are categories. They are pass keys to certain services, access to certain medical interventions if needed, educational interventions. Diagnoses are broad labels that serve as a key to unlock something from the system, the government, whoever sets up the need for these diagnoses. They don't really capture the phenomena as we live it and as it's experienced by autistic/neurodivergent people. By the way, I call all of this neurodivergence. So when I talk about neurodivergence, I'm talking about any and all of these little traits and categories and clusters. The way diagnoses work, autism, for example, you have to have a certain number of these. There's two domains, and you have to have some in both domains. One is like communication, social interaction, and the other one is repetitive, rigidity, inflexible. You get locked into patterns. The rocking counts as that. So if you have a certain number of these in the right combination, in the right pattern, you get a label called autism. If you have a certain number of these in the areas of attention or hyperactivity, you might get an ADHD label. But what if you have a lot of these, but maybe less of the other domain? So you still have a lot of autistic traits, but you don't have enough, or they're not in a high enough degree to get you the label autism. Or are you still autistic? Do you see how clumsy the language is about this? How are we going to begin to understand and educate each other about who we are if we don't even know what we're talking about, and we don't even have a shared language? You see this a lot also in things like the LGBT spectrum. How many letters are on the spectrum now? How many colors? When somebody tells you a pronoun or identity, does it have any meaning at all? You also see it in an attempt to classify personality disorders. They use what's called a category system, and some models are moving toward a dimensional model where it's different traits, and depending on the severity of each trait, tells what personality cluster you fall into. But the point is, all of these things are trying to describe very fuzzy, very individual phenomenon. And I'm trying to come up with a better way for us to start conceptualizing it, talking about it, understanding it, and a simple way. This is getting way too complicated, even for me, probably even for the AI at some point. So think of all of these traits as just individual. This is the night sky. Think of them as just stars. They're stars in the night sky. And the other thing about these diagnoses is the traits have to cross a certain threshold. So let me see if I could try to use the white. Hey, Moose, I just played your video. Oh, was it too small? I'll post it in Discord. I want to try. I thought they had a whiteboard. Well, anyway, imagine, if you will, take a trait like reading ability. At first grade level, kids are expected to read at a certain ability, so many words, paragraphs, whatever, however they measure it. And so most first graders are going to have a baseline reading ability that's similar to each other. Say a kid like me shows up and they're reading way beyond that. They're reading like at a fourth grade level. That particular trait, reading ability, is going to be much higher for me. So it's going to set me over a certain threshold. And because it crosses that threshold, then I get moved into this category called gifted. That threshold is kind of arbitrary and subjective and very context dependent. So if you picture a graph and you have some traits that are above the average for some people, and you have some traits that are below the average for some people, like kids that maybe dyslexia and they struggle with reading and their reading ability lags behind because their trait is underdeveloped instead of overdeveloped. And if you plot these along this line, you're going to have most people cluster in the middle, and their traits are going to be more or less at a normal threshold relative to everybody else. That's why it's called neurodivergence, because it diverges from the neurotypical norm. The traits that are above and below is where you get these little these labels, these categories. What do we call a trait that stands out this much from the norm? Or what do you call a trait that's this underdeveloped in relation to the norm? So you have highs and lows, peaks and valleys. And everybody can have a different combination of those. They're called spiky profiles. Everybody's profile is different, and it's going to have a different combination of spikes and troughs. And depending on if your spikes fit the right categories, it might be called autism at some point. If you have a different set of spikes that fit just the right way, you might be called ADHD at some point. But just because you don't have those constellation of spikes doesn't mean you're not neurodivergent or don't also fall on this spectrum. It could mean your traits are not over a certain threshold, and so they appear more or less normal. And it could also mean that they don't fall into one of these very broad category buckets. And so I find that it's easier. Hang on, let me get this back up. It's easier to think of this more as like the night sky, the stars in the night sky. And everybody, like people that are different from the norm, have brighter stars in some areas than most people, or maybe dimmer stars than most people. And depending on what your particular star pattern is, brightness, dimness, and normal, you can connect them into a particular constellation that fits you. So it's just like kind of mapping your traits, mapping their degree and intensity, and mapping how they interfere in your areas of functioning to get a portrait of your profile. And some constellations happen to fall into this pattern called autism, some this pattern called ADHD, some this pattern called giftedness. And as you can see, there's so much overlap between the patterns. So I think focusing on these individual traits, how they're connected and how they show up in somebody's life, either in an underdeveloped way or in an overdeveloped way, is a better way of mapping out this neurodivergence. And we need new words. We need new words for all of this, because I tend to call all of this autism. I tend to use the words autism and neurodivergence interchangeably, even though autism is much more specific. It's a subcategory of neurodivergence. So if anyone has any suggestions for what to call all of this weirdness, mutants, let me know. All right, let me peek in on chat. Hey, Veggie. Hello. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Well, I have two options from here. I can drop a link if there's a desire to do a panel. And, that's the other thing. there's no easy way to say this. I think I'm going to limit the panels to very specific people for the moment, people that I know I can have certain conversations with. And I think I'm going to also limit them to men right now, because I'm trying to really set this up as a space for men to come and have all their feelings. And so I think I need to limit it to that energy for right now so that that can take root and lay a really strong foundation. And then we can bring in our dope ass bitches after we get all that stabilized. If not, I'm going to go back to the Discord and hang out. And also, I might do periodic streams where it's just a backstage hangout on StreamYard. We're not actually live. And so the stream will just have the link to come hang out backstage. And I may also start doing more members only streams. And so if you really want to be a part of the community and get the full experience, I might start doing most of the stuff behind the members thing. It keeps it tighter and more focused, more intimate. So that's all I have for you today. I may be out. Don't expect me. I'll show up when I show up. It might be another week. I don't know. I'm really enjoying the vacation. I really am. I needed this so bad. I don't even think about YouTube anymore. I look back and it's like a whole different who was that person sitting at that desk for 2.5 years doing all that and talking to all those people? That seems so weird. And then yet here I am. Hey Mike, what's up? Good to see you. I hope all is well. All right. Well, there's no reason to prolong this. I just wanted to show the video. And oh, yeah, that's another thing. Any artist, if you have stuff you want to promote or share, I'll always open up a stream to do that. So just let me know. I guess if there's a reason you want me to do a stream, I will probably do it or could be talked into doing it. Just hit me up with, hey, I want to talk about this topic. I want to show this video. I want to play this game. I want to have this guest on, that kind of stuff. I'm not motivated to stream lately if there's no reason to do it. I have to have a really good, clear reason to do it. Otherwise, it feels like I'm just wasted time that I could be doing other things, like in Discord, getting my soul recharged by all of this great art and conversation. And so it's not that I don't want to stream or I'm not willing to stream. Just let me know if you have a specific reason you want me to stream, and then I'll come out of the cave and pull one off. You had a bad experience? Mike, if I do one of these offstage, like backstage StreamYard things, you're welcome to come on those, because I won't have to worry about an audience or anything. It'll just be people hanging out backstage. So we'll still get to chat. Maybe I'll do one later this week. And you can come up. Yeah. All right, everyone. Have a good rest of your week. It was fun hanging out. Remember, I'm always on Discord. You can hit me up there, or you can email me through my website. The link is in the description. Take care.